Mamdani's election is really encouraging to me because it demonstrated that you can be a different type of politician in the United States and still win an election, which is something that, like, I guess I didn't think was possible anymore. And he could fall flat on his face as soon as he gets into the mayorship, and he still would have had that success of proving that you can be this different model of a politician and still win an election in the United States. And when I say a different type of politician, I'm not talking about anything to do with his policies, right? I'm talking more about what his entire concept of what politics is, right? Because it's not interesting that he's a democratic socialist. New York has had a democratic socialist mayor before. New York has had lowercase s socialists before, right? People who were not members of a capital S socialist party, but were still socialist in practice. Other cities have elected democratic socialists and socialist mayors. There's 100 cities in the United States that have had socialist mayors in the past. And that's just mayors, right? There's thousands of socialists and democratic socialists that have been elected to local governments and state legislatures and county governments and all that sort of stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is Mamdani managed to avoid the culture war shit that has made American politics an absolute joke, right? Like, basically since the 1960s, the two main political parties in the United States, the Democrats and the Republicans, stopped being political parties and started being just brands, right? Like, every election turned into these culture war things, by which I mean every election turned into a Democrat coming out and saying, when you hear the word America, you should think land of opportunity, and everyone is treated the same no matter who they are, in fair shake when they go out into the world. And the Republican would come out and say, when you hear the word America, you should think rugged individualist, person who doesn't need any help from the government, out there doing their own thing without society getting in their way. And neither of those things are an answer to the question of what are you going to do when you have the power? Like, okay, if you get elected, what are you going to physically do? What policies are you going to make? What rules are you going to change? What laws are you going to pass? Don't have an answer. All I have is vote for me if you think this is the correct definition of America. Vote for that guy if you think his definition of America is correct. And Mamdani managed to avoid all that. Like, I don't live in New York City, and I still know that what his campaign platform was. I know when I hear the word Mamdani, I think, okay, affordability. I'm going to make New York City a more affordable place to live. Here's how I'm going to do it, and here's how I'm going to pay for it. That's it. And if you watch, like, every debate, every pundit, every interview he did, whatever, people try to bait him into talking about culture war shit. Right? They're like, tell me more about it. Globalize the Intifada. Tell me more about socialism and anti-capitalism and all. And he was really good. The thing that makes him a unique politician was he was really good at giving them an answer where they didn't have an opportunity to, like, rail more nonsense, right? Like, he gave answers that, like, shut stuff down. He would say, well, yeah, the International Criminal Court has a warrant out for Netanyahu's arrest. And even though I'm not obligated to, I would arrest him if he came into New York City. Next question. Somebody asked, have you ever bought weed? He's like, yes, at a legal dispensary. Next question. Then people would be like, how are you going to pay for free buses? And he's like, okay, what we do is we raise the tax rate to the same as what New Jersey is, blah, 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 blah. They just couldn't make any of the culture war nonsense stick. And so he became a politician that was just about practical, real world shit. Like, what is he going to do? Not what does he think, not what does he believe in, but what is he going to do? And that's a completely different model of American politics than what I'm used to. Most politicians that I can think of that became, like, iconic politicians or whatever, are not known in the United States for what they did, but they are known for, like, what their brand was, just like what their aesthetics were, basically. And Mamdani just made everybody look like a toddler. Like, he's the youngest guy involved in this election. And he made all the other candidates and all the journalists and pundits and debate moderators look like toddlers. Because they were asking just the dumbest fucking questions. And he would be like, people would ask unserious questions. He would give, like, unserious answers and then move on to a serious question. And managed to be the only adult in the room every fucking time. And that was just so incredible to see, and something that, like, I thought was never going to happen again.